any better for you guys. We think it looks better on our end, so let us know. All right, so here we go. I'm Gavin Verhey here with Big Head Joe, and we're bringing you live coverage of the Star City Games Open Series here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We're in round 5. Both these players are 4-0. On your right, we have AJ Sacher. We just had him in the booth not that long ago, and clearly happy to be here. Two good friends battling it out. There's Goofy Hair Ryan O'Connor for you. And
so is that his nickname? Like, I'm Big Head Joe, he's Goofy Hair Ryan O'Connor?
It's more of an unofficial nickname.
Fair enough.
But, I mean, you have to differentiate them, because there's, like, the Star City Games Ryan O'Connor. Like, in my phone, this is what they are.
That's so funny.
So AJ's playing Blue, Red, White, Cobblade. Not a lot of changes from last week. Not a lot of changes from the past couple weeks. Pretty stock. Ryan O'Connor, on the other hand, playing a Naya Vengevine deck we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it'll be pretty awesome to see how this plays out.
I'm excited.
Yeah, all right, so here we go. AJ leads on Colonnade. Ryan leads on Raging Ravine.
There we go.
There's a land we used to see a lot of, and now we just don't see as much.
Yeah, it's kind of like a $3 or $4 land. It's one of the more forgotten about man lands, even though it's pretty powerful. I mean, it's used in Rug, but not really many other decks packing it these days. So Seacrum Coast comes down from AJ, followed by a Hawk. And the Hawk resolves as Ryan is not playing any colors that would play counters. So, searches up some Hawks there. Make sure you don't confuse your decks. You're both rocking the same sleeves.
Don't daze me, bro.
And there's a Razor Verge Thicket. I'm surprised I still remember the name of that land. And a Fauna Shaman. Fauna Shaman meets a quick end via a burn spell that I could not exactly identify. And then here comes a Stoneforge Mystic.
It's got to be Lightning Bolt, right?
Well, it could always be Burst Lightning. You never know. It would also deal with it. And the Stoneforge is going to search up a Sword of Feast and Famine. It's protection from Vengevine, most importantly.
Nope. All right.
As you can see, if you can see like the castle-looking design of the shadows on AJ's side of the board, that is in fact from it's a piece of like a 3,000 card box that has been rigged onto the top of the camera, and I'm trying to post a picture of it to Twitter, but my phone, as usual, is not complying.
Yeah, so it is not in fact Howl's Moving Castle. It is just a piece of cardboard. All right, so AJ swoops up his Squadron Hawk with a Sword of Feast and Famine, and Fauna Shaman can't do much about the flying or the protection from green, so AJ's going to discard or untap his lands. Ryan's going to discard a card. Too bad he doesn't have a Vengevine to pitch here. Looking over Ryan's hand, it looks like there's quite a few lands there. Rootbound Crag goes down for Ryan.
Standard winner box number 2.
All right, and then that's a big turn right there. AJ follows up his sword equip and swing with a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he goes bounce Fauna Shaman here. This could be brutal.
Pretty intense.
Oh, man. All right, so, yep, picks up the Fauna Shaman. And,
Oxidus Scrap Melter.
So that must be the one of. I'd imagine that's the tutor target for Fauna Shaman.
Huh.
Makes sense. I mean, good that he had it in his hand. Knocked that sword right out of the air.
Right. Well, that's one way to deal with the equipment. Like I said, he's got to have some main deck answer to equipment if he's running those 3 colors.
That's one way to slice a sword.
People are just now chiming in about AJ's comments about Brainstorm.
It's so cool to be in the future, and yet so strange at the same time.
It is.
There's about an 8, for those of you just tuning in, there's about an 8 to 9 minute feed delay on our side. So what we're saying now, you won't hear for about 8 to 9 more minutes. All right, so AJ drops down another Stoneforge Mystic, trying to, so he finds Sword of Feast and Famine. And Ryan's like, what does that do? Never seen this card in my life.
I think it might have been. I think it might have been Japanese.
Yeah, it was foreign, that's for sure. All right, Ryan draws Stoneforge Mystic. Looks like so the cool thing about the really cool thing about the Naya deck is it can play Stoneforge Mystic and the swords too, and it gets to play them pretty naturally. It gets to naturally play Basilisk Caller if you have Cunning Spark Mage.
Right. It's quite an interesting choice here. Always love seeing innovative decks.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think a lot of people give beatdown decks a bad rap that they're easy to play or whatever, but if you just watch these train decisions, like Ryan is making no fewer decisions than AJ, and I mean, if you ever, especially if you got to untap with one of those Fauna Shamans, figuring out what to get and what his plan was, like making sure you're getting all the points of damage you can is really tricky.
I mean, but again, just like damage on the stack going away, like I would almost argue that something different creates more decisions. Like a deck like this is obviously tested, it's good. So a lot of the decisions with a deck like the Call Blade decks can almost be automatic. I mean, you're gonna play a Stoneforge Mystic, you're just gonna search up the Sword of Feast and Famine. You know what I mean? Almost every time. Right, at least 98% of the time.
Sure. Or Sword of Body Mind sometimes, whichever, right?
Like these days, it's almost always Sword of Feast and Famine first.
Some people are just eschewing the Body and Mind altogether.
It's true.
All right, so Glenn Jones is bringing us over deck lists, and so we finally get to take a look at Ryan O'Connor's deck here. So it looks like 4 Birds of Paradise, 4 Vengevine, 4 Fauna Shaman, 4 Mystics, 4 Squadron Hawk, 2 Acidic Slime, 2 Cunning Spark Mage, and then for some one-of targets we have Inferno Titan, Sylvan Ranger, Oxida Scrap Melter, Precursor Golem, Hero of Oxid Ridge, Baneslayer Angel, Linvala Keeper of Silence, and Sunblast Angel.
Whoa!
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. This is basically mono dudes except for the equipment. It's kind of awesome.
This is a final call for sign-ups for 2
I like it.
Yeah, I mean then you have the 2 Sword Feast and Famines and a Basilisk Caller to go find. So he's got a lot of one-ofs, which is cool. The cool thing about that many one-ofs is you'll just draw some naturally, and none of them are bad on their own. Sylvan Rager, perfectly fine. Inferno Titan, perfectly fine. Precursor Golem, perfectly fine, right? So it's pretty interesting.
Very surprised with all those creatures, especially with Chapin's article to not see Lead the Stampede, but...
Yeah, I mean, he did opt for no leads. I'm wondering if, this might just not be a deck where he wants it. Also, the slots are really crucial like this, in a deck like this, But I'm sure Ryan probably has a pretty good reason for it. We can maybe talk to him about it later.
Absolutely.
In a sideboard, he has a Core Firewalker, Condemn, Cunning Spark Mage, second Basilisk Caller, Sun Titan, Gideon Jura, Acidic Slime, and Lightning Bolt.
And meanwhile, back at the ranch, Ryan O'Connor has been getting beat down by a sorted up Hawk and a non-sorted up Hawk.
And Hawks all around. And I mean, that Scrap Melter knocked off one sword, but...
He's got another one.
Yep.
There are swords to
more
spare.
Where that came from. And so I'm looking over AJ's deck list here. Who decided to write his deck list in cursive. Okay, so yeah, it's as I thought, because AJ searched up a second Sword of Feast and Famine. AJ has, like we were talking about, just done away with sort of Body and Mind altogether and just runs 2 Sword of Feast and Famines now.
Yeah.
You just don't get the Body and Mind often enough. You just play Feast and Famine and
it's just a way bigger ability. Although, I mean, the sort of Body and Mind is technically or potentially better in like the Valakut matchup, but
sometimes. But I mean, taking out a card from their hand in Valakut, like it's all about a resource war.
Sure.
And stripping their hand of their top end cards like Summoning Trap and Primeval Titan are really strong.
There's a nice
really
old school Birds of Paradise from Ryan O'Connor.
Yeah, Ryan O'Connor's manual likes his pretty cards.
I like me some old school art.
AJ is still leveraging that Jace to good advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Brainstorm's way a couple cards.
So what do you think Ryan needs to get out of this rough situation? I mean, Vengevine would certainly help. I mean, an active Fauna Shaman is key, but it's going to be very hard for him to establish that. Plus, he's under a quick clock with all those Squadron Hawks here.
Lots of flyers up in the air coming at him.
AJ, no, go ahead.
No, this game's just not looking very good for Ryan, frankly.
Yeah. AJ established a quick board presence with his blue white red Kago deck, and he just never let it go. The thing is that about the blue red white Kago deck is a lot of people really feel like it's a control deck, but I think it was AJ or Drew Levin who talked about this, how it's really just a fish deck at its core. I mean, you have some controlling elements, and you just play hawks and swords, and you kill them fast, or relatively fast. The game's going to take a while, but you just grind them out with sword advantage and counter spells and under a wall of Squadron Hawks. And speaking of AJ's deck, once again, it looks pretty stock compared to what we've been used to. One main deck, Inferno Titan, still a holdover. 2 Mana Leak, 3 Spell Pierce, 3 Day of Judgment, 3 Gideondra. Sideboard. He talked about the one spreading seas when he was in the booth a little while ago. He said he wanted a card that was good against a range of decks like Valakut, blue, white, black Cobblade, and Vampires. Other than that, I mean, looks very similar to the list he's been playing for a while now.
I just love Inferno Titan. The card is so big.
Yeah, the card seems awesome. Like in this format.
Right now, an Inferno Titan from Ryan, if he had the mana, would just be pretty brutal. But he doesn't. So.
Yeah, I mean, Inferno Titan just kills, Squadron Hawk, bashes, pumps, deals a lot of damage. It's so versatile for it. I mean, all the Titans have just created such a profound impact on Constructed. There's no card in the cycle that has not been a huge contender at some point, right? We've seen Frost Titan, Grave Titan, Sun Titan, Primeval Titan, and Inferno Titan all be very strong contenders at different points in time.
Yeah. Well, it's like our joke. Our joke used to be on MTG Taps was that the format was wide open. You can play any Titan you want.
That's true. You can play all the Titans.
Now Standard has definitely drifted away from that a little bit, but they're still there, and they're still powerful and big players here.
I mean, all of the cawing has kind of reduced the power of Titans in a sense, just because you strip your resources with Sword of Feast and Famine, the war turns elsewhere.
Right. Like I was saying, like last week, was like your finishers are coming down on like turns 2 and 3 now instead of like turn 6.
Right. Yeah, the format just sped up, and you can't afford to leave cards in your hand, or else they'll just be thrown away to a sword.
So Ryan seems to be stuck on 4 mana here, which is also a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's had a ton of problems this game, and that's just one of them. He plays down that Fauna Shaman again, trying to get something going, but AJ has drawn both Spell Pierces, which are almost dead cards in this matchup.
Yeah, basically dead. Spoilers, he's probably going to cut those.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, AJ is definitely boarding out those.
Yeah, I mean,
those Spell Pierces. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Mana Leaks also hit the bench, too. I feel like AJ probably just wants to upgrade, do a lot of proactive cards instead of reactive ones.
Sure.
So we'll see, a Condemn, maybe a Spreading Seas, Cunning Spark Mage, Basilisk Collar, Sun Titan, maybe Sylvok Lifestyle,
yeah,
maybe
Spark
Divine
Mage Collar
Offering.
seems like it could come down and be pretty brutal.
Yeah, or just Spark Mage in general. I mean, you can pick off Birds of Paradise, Squadron Hawk. It does enough on its own.
Sure.
Plus, with Collar, clearly it's
Collar
quite
will help.
relevant. Let's see. And AJ activates Colonnade, trying to get in for the death stroke here. He knows that he doesn't want to give Ryan too much time to get back into the game. He doesn't want him to chain Vengevines or anything like that. So it's time for Colonnade to fight.
AJ, of course, rocking the MTGmom.com sticker. Anyone who has not used MTGmom.com,
Attention players,
that website is the most awesome resource for
construction are being posted in the hallway.
Tournament schedules. Just, I mean, it's a calendar. If you play in tournaments, bookmark it.
Go out to the hallway. Your seating
I can't stress that enough.
Posted in the S through Z board.
If you're sitting there watching this, wondering why didn't I know about this? I live in Fort Worth. Should have been following MTGmom.com.
Yeah, that's true. if you're in your house at Fort Worth right now and you have a standard deck and you're not here, clearly something is wrong. It's not too late to come and sign up for some of the side events.
Very true.
Or just trade.
Side events all weekend.
So AJ thinking, he knows he's got the game in a pretty solid spot. All right. And AJ just passes it back. Ryan's looking at his cards, and I don't think those cards are going to be in his hand for very long. They're going to quickly get shuffled back into his deck, but as he scoops up his cards. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough situation for Ryan here.
Yeah, I mean, he can serve him with a Stoneforge Mystic for a 1. He'll gain a life, but the Squadron Hawks have him on the back. Yeah, there we go. There's the scoop. So, yeah, just a poor start by Ryan there. His deck did not do what he needed it to do. It did not have a quick start, didn't have any Birds of Paradise backing, didn't have any Vengevines. AJ managed to deal with Fauna Shaman because of Bolt. And that's the big advantage of the blue-red-white Cobblade deck are those lightning bolts. I mean, the blue-white deck does not have a card like that.
It's true.
You know, I mean, maybe even if you main deck to Condemn or something, it's not going to answer. Fauna Shaman. You could play Journey to Nowhere or Oust, but a lot of players aren't really opting for that strategy.
Right. Journey to Nowhere is one of those cards that I'm surprised that sees a lot less play than it does.
Yeah, I mean, the card is awesome. I really miss Oblivion Ring, but
I think a lot of people miss Oblivion Ring, frankly.
It felt like, it's weird because Oblivion Ring was in the format for so long, and it just felt like an awesome catch-all card to have, you know? I mean, dealt with Planeswalkers, dealt with equipment, dealt with enchantments, and it's good from a design perspective, just because you constantly have this card out there that if like, it's like a safety valve. If one permanent type that's hard to deal with gets too out of hand, the white decks have an answer to it. On the flip side, you don't want standard to be changing. You don't want the default to always be Oblivion Ring, right?
Right. I mean, there's lots of answers for Planeswalkers. I mean, that's the thing that I've always talked about. Is people get upset about like Jason Mind Sculptor. You know, like, oh, it costs so much. Oh, I can't afford them. Like, there are ways to deal with Jason Mind Sculptor. Ryan's got the right idea. He can turn creatures sideways.
Yeah, Vengevine is a pretty good answer. You pay 4 for your Jace? All right, attack him. What do you think are the odds we see AJ's 1 Condemn hit a Vengevine in this match?
He's got a single Condemn?
And if you draw it, that's what you want to save it for, right?
AJ, he's kind of a stun master. Very likely. I would say, 95% chance.
So we see AJ fooling around with the sideboard here. It looks like he's bringing in those Cunning Spark Mages.
Sure did look like it. Haven't checked Twitter in a while.
Once again, we do apologize for the quality of the picture here. It's just there's nothing we can do about it. We've tried like adding a little bit of shadow and doing what we can, but the room is just dark. It's
my eyes have adjusted to it, but the cameras won't adjust.
Yeah, and neither will the fiber optic cables connecting. I mean, the internet connection is kind of rough, so the feed's about 8 or 9 minutes behind. So we apologize, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask us on Twitter, and we'll try and respond to them as soon as we can.
Right, absolutely.
All right, so Ryan counts out his sideboard. That's something that's really popular to do in Japan. We don't see here that often. It's really interesting when you play against a player from Japan or in an Asian country, or you play in a tournament over there. A lot of players will count out their sideboards to you, but in America you don't see that as often. So it's cool that Ryan did that.
Huh. I never realized that was like a geographical thing.
Yeah, I mean, just in different areas, players have different norms, right?
Right, absolutely.
I mean, for example, in Japan, players don't really you can't really trade cards very well because the shops won't won't let you trade cards as like an honor kind of thing, right? You're taking business away from the store.
Huh.
So you have to do transactions with the store. So the trading market over there is much different. There's just all these kinds of small geographical things in the way people play.
That's really interesting. I've never been before, so
Yeah.
I've never even left the country before, to be honest.
There's crazy stuff out there. And yeah, it's so cool. I mean, Magic unites everybody, right? Like, we all have like the same kind of universal language. We all speak Magic.
Yeah,
you know?
it's really a cool thing.
You go to a Grand Prix and there are players from Brazil and Japan and Europe and Australia sometimes, and
wild exotic places like Australia.
Yeah, exactly, where there's alligators and like or maybe there's at least kangaroos. I guess there could be alligators. I don't know how prevalent they are. But regardless, just all these different people coming together under one band. So I know that AJ Sacher is very religious about his practices for Magic. He watches all of his matches that are on SCG Live rigorously after a tournament. And I'm sure about a week from now, when these go up on SCG, on GG's Live, wherever they're hosted at right now, AJ's going to watch this and be like, they're talking about this while I'm sideboarding. Like, but, we love you, AJ. So, players shuffling up. Should be interesting. I really want to see Ryan's deck in action. It's always a shame when we feature a cool deck and we don't really get to see it perform,
Yeah, I know. I hate that. Like last week in Memphis, Michael Posgay was playing a really awesome 12-post list. And, me and Joey, like, immediately on day 2 were like, we want Posgay. We want to see the 12-post. And he was not able to really get anything going for himself. We did get to see. I'm pretty sure we saw Emrakul cast, but just he was playing against Merfolk, and like in games 1 and 3, he basically just didn't get much done. So it was a little rough, but.
Yeah, I mean, we featured a couple decks like that before. I mean, on the flip side, sometimes you get really awesome things like top decks time spirals, right? But
yeah, that's true.
All right, so the players finally take their opening hands. Ryan's going to be on the play this time. His hand looked pretty good from what I saw. I think I saw a Copperline and a Birds of Paradise. Yeah, this hand looks great. Turn 1 Birds of Paradise.
He's off to the races now. It's good.
Yeah, I think we'll see some action from Ryan this time. Granted, it looks like there's a Cunning Spark Mage from AJ's side, which will certainly be good for him.
AJ leaves off with a Celestial Colonnade, passes back. And there's a Fauna Shaman from Ryan.
And Ryan leaves a mountain up, and that looks like there's a Vengevine in Ryan's hand, so that Fauna Shaman is going to quickly wreak some havoc.
Yeah.
If AJ does not have an answer to it right here. I don't think he has one. I think I just see Cunning Spark Mage in his hand.
Without a collar, that will not kill the Fauna Shaman. It'll kill the bird, but it's not going to happen fast enough. That is some impressive hair, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, he said he isn't called goofy-haired Ryan O'Connor for nothing. All right. So AJ preordains, trying to find a lightning bolt off that Fauna Shaman before it gets out of hand. Looks back to his hand.
Edgar made some sick plays now to stay alive against the red deck. He was at 6, the guy bolted him down to 3, and Edgar took the hawk, attacked, and then Gideon killed his own hawk to go up to 3, and the guy ripped the bolt, obviously. It's still, if Edgar didn't do that, if you guys got him for greedy play, he would have lost.
Huh.
Lifestyle.
What?
Lifestyle. Like, how do you game?
Silvok Lifestyle.
That's that.
Yeah.
So did he won the match?
Yeah, so Edgar's defeated.
So Alex Bertoncini and Edgar Flores both still undefeated in this tournament. Alex picked up a loss. He lost last year. So Alex is 4-1. Edgar Flores 5-0. Just made a great play. But back to the match at hand. We'll go into that later. AJ preordained and did not find what he was looking for.
No, he's not stuck on a land. Never mind.
And Ryan's all right. He goes for the Fauna Shaman. Okay, so that's acidic slime. So Dan goes acidic slime. Maybe that's what I saw instead of the Vengevine.
Yeah, because I can't see where he wouldn't. I can't see where he wouldn't discard the Vengevine if he had it. Yeah, we heard you're 5-0.
Yeah, Edgar Flores comes by. Finally beat a red deck. He's 5-0 after Gideon Juring his own Squadron Hawk, equipped with a Sylvok Life Staff to gain 3 life.
I didn't see the play till took me a second to see the play.
And that is why you continue to play the same deck over and over. Meanwhile, Ryan O'Connor Squadron Hawks it up. The Hawk is just everywhere, not even the beatdown decks can get away from the Hawk. Now, Hawk is really awesome with Fauna Shaman because you just get 3 more creatures of fuel. So instead of leading the Stampede, which would be a legitimate thing to do in this deck, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
You Fauna Shaman up a bunch of creatures and you have your fuel right there.
Yeah. Ryan's in a good position here, but not right now.
So now back to AJ. Now, the board isn't threatening right now, but he knows well enough that Naya boards can quickly become convoluted. Squadron Hawk also is an awesome way to trigger Vengevine because, you play 2 Hawks, you get another Hawk. So for a total of 4 mana, you bring back all your Vengevines.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a 1-card combo. You don't have to Trinket Mage from M-Night anymore,
I always felt like that was a weird, I don't know.
So Basilisk Caller for AJ.
Okay, so we got the Basilisk Collar. Okay, so he's gonna get he's gonna assemble the Spark Mage Collar combo here. It looks like. And Ryan's going to ditch a Hawk.
Clears. I need Ian Jashaway to the main event stage, please. Ian Jashaway to the main event stage, please.
And he pitches the Hawk for Oxidus Scrap Melter.
Okay, so Scrap Melter comes down. Once again, the one of Scrap Melter gives him a nice little versatility card that deals with the swords. A nice 3/3 bonus on top of everything else. You can go for a Scrap Melter or Manic Vandal.
Now, oh, okay, he played it to get rid of the collar. Okay.
Yeah. So collar goes away.
I didn't see the collar on the board. That's why I was like, all right. So, but yeah.
So AJ drew out the Scrap Melter. Now maybe he's got more plans, but no, it looks like AJ's in the tank. That is his thinking face. It's also his AJ face. All right, here comes down Squadron Hawk. Pulls out Day of Judgment out of his deck. Nope, cannot Squadron Hawk for Day of Judgment.
It seemed like a fun plan, but not a necessarily legal plan. Entertaining. He now has Quadron Hawks at his disposal.
The Squadron Flock, as it were. All kinds of fun puns you can play there to make LSV proud.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there goes the other Squadron Hawk. And still hasn't answered that Fauna Shaman. And I think this is probably when we're going to start seeing Vengevines. Sounds like right about the right time.
No better time than the present.
Let's see what Ryan decides to do. Carefully manages his lands. I mean, he could also attack with the Raging Ravine too. Alright, so he does have a land. But well, let's see. Okay, so he goes for Stoneforge Mystic. Cracks the land. And gets Basilisk Collar.
Got his own collar.
Okay. So we're going to see call or equip here, do you think? Call or equip, leave one up, and then you can Fauna Shaman and potentially find a Cunning Spark Mage to combo with it.
Seems about right.
So yeah, in crashes the 3/3 Scrap Melter, in crashes the 1/1 Squadron Hawk.
Oh,
nope.
does it?
Nope. It was a little coward. AJ draws, looking for something to bail him out. Inferno Titan, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
AJ's at 158. No, he's actually at 15. AJ figuring out, all right, how am I going to bail myself out of this one? Granted, AJ said on Facebook that, like, you know, a lot of his games, the way they play out after watching his games is that he feels like it constantly looks like he's dying and dying and dying and dying, and then he just, you know, wins. So AJ knows how to go to the brink of defeat. He knows how to use all of his life points and how to play every turn properly so that he can get the maximum value out of his cards. And I'm sure he's thinking right now, all right, what's my plan? How am I going to win this game? All right, so down comes Cunning Spark Mage.
Still effective right now, even though the other half of his combo is gone.
So he chooses to not Spark Mage down birds yet. He's going to wait and see what Ryan finds and then decide. I imagine Ryan would go for either Cunning Spark Mage or Vengevine here. It's possible Spark Mage is less attractive because the opposing Spark Mage can gun it down. Let's see what Ryan wants to do. Inferno Titan, if it's still in his deck, could also be pretty good.
AJ, I think he has it in his hand, doesn't he?
No,
Ryan. Ryan has it, right?
Well,
who has it?
It's in AJ's hand, but he's in Fauna Shamaning.
So
he could.
Okay.
Okay. Looked green. So yeah, that's Vengevine. So yeah, Ryan's got a Vengevine, which means on his turn he's going to untap. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see another Fauna Shaman discarding Vengevine here. Or potentially just play the Vengevine to crash in, but we'll see what he wants to do.
Pet Giraffe on Twitter said they have crocodiles in Australia, by the way.
All right, well, that's good to know. Not totally insane. It's crocodiles in Australia. There are alligators other places.
Florida.
Sure.
Where I'll be in May.
For the Star City Games Open Series?
Yes, nice.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Nice transition.
Commentate on the game, see the world. All right, so Ryan starts in with the Scrap Melter, saving his Vengevine for a rainy day. And
double block from AJ on the.
Yeah, it looks like AJ's playing for a Day of Judgment here.
Okay. Yep.
Or potentially Inferno Titan next turn. For those of you just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey here with Big Head Joe here at the Star City Games Open Series in Dallas, Fort Worth. And this is round 5. Both these players are 4-0. We've got Ryan O'Connor with his Naya Vengevine deck, a deck we haven't seen much of lately, on the left-hand side of your screen. He's got a Stoneforge Mystic, a Birds of Paradise, a Squadron Hawk with a Basilisk Collar. He's got a Fauna Shaman.
Down comes a Cunning Spark Mage.
Yep. He's got an Oxida Scrap Melter. The Fauna Shaman is now off the screen, but he does have one. AJ Sacher, on the other hand, is no newcomer to the blue, white, red archetype. He has played it quite significantly to several great finishes in the past couple weeks, and he's trying to pilot his way out of this one. All he has right now is a Cunning Spark Mage and a Squadron Hawk. Jerry just came by and gave us the thumbs up, so Jerry Thompson advances to what I can only assume is 5-0 on the day.
Yeah, I have a very, this is just an entertaining request from Twitter. JT Toval asks me to remind him to take his pizza out of the oven now because it'll be done in 9 minutes. So
wow, that's awesome.
So there we go.
Wow, Jerry Thompson would be proud.
Players, we currently have 3 spots available in a standard Winnabox. If you would like a chance to
He hashtagged it with advantageous delay.
I mean, if you're going to have delay, you might as well use it to your advantage, right? Alright, so AJ flicking some cards. Alright, here comes Squadron Hawk. And are we seeing another Hawk here? Nope. AJ just passes back, holding Condemn in his hand. Ryan, Fauna Shaman's away, Vengevine. Might actually see that Condemn on Vengevine. He just continues to chain those Vengevines together. It's only a matter of time until we see the quintuplet in action.
Yeah, he's gotta bust him out at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, Vengevines aren't just there to look pretty and discard a Fauna Shaman. They are quite impressive on their own.
It looks like we might see. Are we going to see him come down this turn? We got a fourth one in hand, too. Ooh, boy.
All right, Ryan, looking at his mana, this could be the turn. Things are going haywire. All right, taps 4.
Is a sword?
Or taps 3 for sword. Okay. It sticks, and it goes on a Hawk. Now, the Hawk can just be blocked by the other Hawks.
He's
All right, so AJ
it looks
jumps.
like he's hoping to just clear the way for a big swing next turn.
I mean, I'm sure what Ryan is doing here, to be especially careful, is he doesn't just want to walk into Day of Judgment. And by holding his Vengevines, he can recover from a day really well. Even if AJ days here, he's still in rough shape because Ryan just plays a couple creatures and has 3 Vengevines cracking back in.
Right. Well, he can also end a turn, discard the fourth one in his hand, and then play 2 creatures.
Right, absolutely.
And even if AJ days this turn, all 4 come down next turn, and
so yeah, Ryan has no reason at this point, like, even though it doesn't look like he's super ahead, he has no reason to blow everything before he has to.
yeah, no reason to go for it unless he knows
Discards
he
the Vengevine, gets the 4th Vengevine.
Oh, okay. I thought he had 3 in the graveyard already.
Guns down that Squadron Hawk. That Sword of Feast and Famine that Ryan played last turn got Divine Offering, but Ryan's still in a pretty good position here. AJ figuring out what's my line of play, or Ryan's figuring out what's my line of play, what does AJ have, how am I gonna line everything up properly. Alright, so down comes Vengevine.
So he casts one.
It looks like AJ's hand is Inferno Titan. I can't quite make out the other cards, but that Inferno Titan's still there. Alright, so he brings that back. Here come the rest of them. He's got the quintuplet. Or no, that's only 3.
Okay.
So yeah, Ryan's holding the last Vengevine for a rainy day.
Judge Appleby to the main event stage. Thomas Appleby to the main event stage.
I really thought, I don't know why I thought he had 4 in the graveyard. I don't know.
Well, when he's Fauna Shamaning all the time, it's easy to quickly lose track.
Yep. The graveyard being up by the names there doesn't help things, but
Alright. AJ fiddling with his mana. Taps 5 and goes to Colonnade to block 1. And then he looks like he's going to use the mana to condemn the other Vengevine. A great play by AJ.
yeah.
I mean, it was kind of obvious in some senses, but I think a lot of players might have done something else on their turn instead of using the Colonnade in that fashion. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So he uses it to essentially deal with 2 Vengevines. And it still cracks in for 4. And I think, yep, Ryan just passes. He sees no reason to extend the rest of his hand. And Aaron Mace is going to bring down the 1 Inferno Titan for AJ. There's a reason why the Singleton is still in the deck, folks. This Inferno Titan is going to be pretty strong. What do you think you kill here?
Fauna Shaman and
Spark Mage, probably?
Probably a Spark. I was going to say Spark Mage, yeah.
I mean, you don't want to get Massless Collar active on the other side.
No. Absolutely not.
Because that Fauna Shaman can tutor up a Stoneforge Mystic, which can get a Basilisk Collar. So it's probably going to, yep, and he guns those down.
discard a Vengevine in response.
Yep, down goes Vengevine.
Grabs. Well, he's thinking
Oh, the
Vengevine.
Condemn from AJ put the Vengevine back in Ryan's deck. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So Ryan can go get another Vengevine if he
He's gonna
wants.
grab a
but-
Stoneforge instead.
Yeah, I like Stoneforge here. I think. No, he's like, nope. He's like, wait. Mechanic Spark Mage is going to die. I mean, I think if you get Stoneforge, maybe you can try and get Caller Spark Mage online next turn. I haven't counted up the mana. But the other option is you just go Vengevine Brawl.
He's looking for that one wrench that you can just never find in the bottom of your toolbox.
I mean, he's got quite a deep toolbox, too. He's got 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9 one-ofs in his main
Wow.
deck. I don't know how many he sideboarded out, but
It's pretty fun, though.
yeah, this is an important decision for Ryan, and he knows it.
Inferno
All right.
Titan comes down.
Inferno Titan for Ryan. He's like, all right, you want to brawl with Inferno Titans? I'll show you how men brawl with Inferno Titans.
Playing a standard winner box or a commander pod. Come on up and we'll get signed in and started.
All right, AJ passes back.
I'll see your Inferno Titan.
All right, so he clearly got the Titan with the plan. Do you think you just run it out there? Yeah,
Apparently so.
that's what it looks like. Bam. Inferno Titan. Deals 2 to Inferno Titan, 1 to AJ, so we can swing with that Vengevine.
Yep.
Which is nice. Deals with a little bit of
Ooh,
extra
he can
damage.
swing with as many Vengevines as he would like.
Oh. Well. Yes. And in comes a bunch of Vengevines. He's forced blocked with Inferno Titan, and now he's playing for Day of Judgment. Is it there for AJ? Can't see. Oh, nope, there's a bolt. That bolt needed to come much earlier to deal with that Fauna Shaman.
Absolutely.
And now that is what Ryan's deck is supposed to do, unlike the last game where things didn't quite go as planned. The Birds of Paradise early really sets up a nice start for Ryan. Like he can play it out and then quickly generate a mana and get an advantage over any counter magic AJ has, over any removal AJ has, and Fauna Shaman obviously sticking this game as opposed to getting bolted really allowed Ryan to get the advantage he needed. We'll see if it goes for the third game. AJ's back on the play, which seems to be pretty crucial in this matchup.
Sure, yeah, absolutely does. I mean, letting Ryan get away with all the stuff he's trying to do is pretty rough for AJ.
Yeah. I mean, so we see the players going back to their sideboards. What do you think? What do you think they're going to be changing now that they're on the draw, or now that Ryan's on the draw and AJ's on the play?
Well, like I said, I'm not the best at this sort of thing.
Let's get your take on it.
Let's see. I don't know. I mean, you think Ryan brings in Gideon? You think Gideon's any good here?
I like a lot of players like Gideon against the Cobblade decks because what happens is the Cobblade deck casts Gideon, and then you cast Gideon, and they expect to get +2 or whatever, so they can lean on it. And then you cast Gideon, they trade, and you can attack them for a bunch of damage.
Right. So I mean, that seems like it could be a decent plan for Ryan, because AJ would get to Gideon first, and AJ probably wants to stick a Gideon here. I don't know what sort of changes they would make necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, we saw Ryan boarded in an Acidic Slime.
Right.
Now, you want some to deal with all the swords in AJ's deck, but there's a question of like, how many slimes do you want? Do you want both the slimes in addition to your Scrap Melter? Like, because if you draw it naturally, it's a little weak on the draw. It's not very fast.
It's too bad Sun Titan can't get back the Scrap Melter.
Oh, yeah,
That'd be sick.
Sun Titan can get back Manic Vandal.
It's true.
Just saying.
Very true.
The players decided to intentionally draw.
Huh.
It looks like they're still going to play it out for fun. flip over their 7 cards and play it out for fun. But they're 2 friends, and they're like, "Why are we doing this to ourselves? Looks like a close matchup. Let's potentially draw." How much time is left in the round? Was there a reason they did it besides just being
It could be
cushy?
Yeah, it's 4 minutes left. They didn't have time.